Okay, hi Tayla. Let's take a look at this new set of essays you have sent us. Here's what you said. The first one is about spending a lot of money on weddings and if there are more benefits or disadvantages. Let's see what you said. The issue of whether spending a huge amount of money on a wedding ceremony or not has grown in importance over the last few years. This essay will discuss the impact of this trend in the society and why, in my opinion, the negative aspects by far outweigh the benefits, using examples to demonstrate points and prove arguments. Okay, it's fine. It's a little awkward. It's a little long, essentially. So I think you could have reduced it a little bit so it just had a little better clarity. So let me show you what I mean. This essay will discuss the impact of this trend and why, in my opinion, the negative aspects outweigh the benefits, using examples to demonstrate points and prove arguments. It just makes it a little cleaner. You don't have to go into all that wordiness in your introduction, okay? All right, so there is ample evidence that spending a lot of money to hold an incredible wedding ceremony can mean happiness. The central reason behind this is twofold. Firstly, people want to enjoy their unique special day by turning it into an unforgettable moment, as it is supposed to be only once in a lifetime. Okay, tell me what that has to do with spending a lot of money. So isn't it possible to have a memorable and unforgettable moment without spending a lot of money? So remember that the whole idea here is to bring it back to this focus about how money and spending money has benefits, okay? Secondly, they want to provide the best things to their guests, such as the famous DJ or the fancy menu. Okay, such as a famous DJ or a fancy menu, because there's not just one in the world. You're talking about one among many options. So you have to use a here. For instance, recent empirical research in the USA has shown that couples have spent over 70% of their original budget to include extra details in their wedding. Therefore, it is conclusively clear that most couples are more concerned with spending more money to please their guests than actually celebrating. Okay, let's see. Now, you had a good example of this, okay? So it's implied that the fancy menu and the famous DJ imply more money, and you had an example for it, so that's fine. But you didn't really have any sort of support for your first idea, which is that they want to make their memorable day unforgettable. Okay, you didn't have any sort of support about that and why it's linked to spending money. Okay, so you can't have one piece of support for two separate ideas. Each idea needs to have its own piece of support, okay? All right, so let's move on there. Fine. So although there is a case of successful marriages, this is a little awkward. So although there is a case for successful marriages or successful weddings spending a lot of money or requiring a lot of money, maybe that would have worked even better, the true meaning of marriage is often left out most of the time. This is due to the fact that people focus only on the ceremony, comma, not on the life which they will live together. Get rid of this in. What makes marriage important is how you treat and care about your partner rather than how fabulous the wedding ceremony is. This is because new couples want to show up on their social networks, such as Instagram and Facebook, how popular they are and modern, so they spend more than they need to just to prove they are capable of performing an amazing ceremony. For example, banks in Brazil had to create a new type of loan for those who decide to get married and do not have enough funds to pay. Consequently, newly married people cannot afford a place to live because they have spent all of their savings in one day and now they have a debt to pay. Okay, this is... You've got a lot of ideas, okay, and I'm glad that you do, but I can't really say that it's a very cohesive paragraph. Now, why do I say that? Remember that we're talking about the disadvantages now in this paragraph. We're talking about the disadvantages of spending a lot of money, okay? So, all of this here, this whole section is really kind of irrelevant. All you're really doing is making a critique of how people are focusing on the wrong meaning of marriage by doing this. But and that, you know, a proper marriage and, you know, a successful marriage is about something else. That's not really relevant. What your paragraph should be focusing on here is just what the disadvantages of spending a lot of money on a wedding are. So, I felt like all of this was a little irrelevant, or if it was relevant, it took you really far too long to get to the point, okay? So what do I mean? I mean that if you're trying to say that people show they have wrong priorities and that they're really just trying to keep up appearances, then you should have said that far earlier, all right? So in other words, you could have had your introductory sentence, or an introductory sentence that might have been a little better linked. So, for example, you could have said something like, although there is a case for successful marriages coming out of expensive wedding ceremonies, there are numerous disadvantages associated with overspending on a wedding. First of all, the true meaning of marriage is lost because people are so focused on keeping up appearances and creating an image of success and glamour that they forget what the true meaning of the marriage is, making the wedding into a circus or some gala rather than a joining of two people together. Okay, so if you had reframed it like this, it might have worked a little better, okay? Then this part about, let's see, then your example here I didn't really understand it. You said that they want to show up on Instagram and Facebook, and then you talked about banks in Brazil, but that, let me see, this is because, I don't know, I didn't know where your ideas were ending. It just felt a little incohesive, okay? Incoherent rather is what I want to say, and not very cohesive. Sorry about that. So, so this for me should have been its own main idea. So one problem is that many couples are taking out loans in order to finance these expensive weddings. This in turn creates the beginning of their life with debt, or makes them begin their life with debt, and this can be very detrimental as people have a hard time paying off their debt and, you know, beginning a successful life together. So if you had framed it like that, it's just a little bit about the way you're organizing your sentences. So I kind of want you to look back at the template again and see how the sentences are organized. So I like that you're trying to put your own spin on things, but I think it would really help you to go back to the template and kind of organize some of these ideas in a way that's more coherent. Okay, so from the arguments examples given, I firmly believe that people are spending more on their weddings because of the strong position of social networking sites on people's lives. This is surely a negative development for the society and individuals. All right, that's fine. That's fine. The order of your paragraphs was fine, so that part's good. Okay, I think I've given you enough information here to help you kind of revise this essay. So let's move on to your cover letter, okay? Dear Sir, Madam, I am writing this letter to express my interest in your open position as a logistics coordinator. I've read a lot of positive comments about your organization on the internet and would like to propose myself as a potential candidate for this vacancy. Okay, that's fine. Currently, I am working as a logistics analyst, and I've been working in this company for 6 years. I am a qualified postgraduate in supply chain. Okay, and I have deep knowledge, not depth. I have deep knowledge of the logistics industry along with customer service. I have plenty of experience dealing with freight forwarders, purchasing staff, and the final consumer. I've been awarded the best performance in the last 2 consecutive years, so I believe I can contribute with all my experience to your company. Lovely. I have always wanted to associate, no, this is the wrong word here. I have always wanted to belong to your organization because your company gives equal chances to all the employees to prove their mettle. Moreover, your company is a pioneer in the logistics industry, so it will be a great opportunity for me to face new challenges. Okay, that's good. In addition, I am responsible, punctual, and a fast learner. I can perform tasks under pressure without supervision. Also, I am persistent and have energy to dedicate myself to situations that require overcoming. I look forward to hearing from you. Yours faithfully, Tayla Silva. Okay, let's see. Let me tell you what you did that I liked and what I didn't really like. So, you talked about your energy and enthusiasm. I really got that. That was good. You talked about You talked about your past experience. That's also true. You talked about, yeah, you did talk about possible qualifications. You talked about your character and so forth. What I really wanted was a little bit more about this. I'm a qualified postgraduate in supply chain, you said. So that's what I wanted a little more of. Maybe if you could talk a little bit about your academic background a little bit. I think that was missing for me. But of course, you did give a lot of personal like soft skills that you have, okay, punctual, fast learner, and so forth. So that's good. But in a cover letter, we would kind of discuss our academic background as well and why we're well suited for this position. So I think for me that was missing. But other than that, it was a lovely letter. Good grammar, good vocabulary. I don't really have any major complaints about this. Just that one little thing, because I'm looking for essentially a detail to help you just improve this a little bit. Okay? So Tayla, go ahead and correct these essays. Let's see what you write for us the next time with your new set of essays. Okay? We'll be here waiting for them. So best of luck to you in your writing.